What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm just disappointed. I really am from the bottom of my heart. I just read the Absolute Flash comic that just came out like a few months ago. I just read number one and it was terrible. And I'm like, is this where the comic book industry is going? Like, you got this Wally West character. He's like 15 years old. He's whiny. He's annoying the whole entire comic. You barely see him use his powers. You don't really see him wear his suit on the first issue. Like, they have a problem with the comic book industry slowly building up to the story. I hate that. It's a comic book. Use your goddamn imagination. I don't understand why they do these slow ass buildups. It's not a movie, it's not a TV show. I want to see explosions. I want to see fighting scenes. I want to see science fiction, fantasy. I want to see greatness as soon as I open the page. I truly do. I really do from the bottom of my heart. And y'all are about, what's up, Omar? What's up, Omar? And y'all are about to listen to one of my favorite YouTubers called Unc Rants. He is awesome. What's up? What's up, John Level Fox? You're about to listen to him and why he thinks comic books suck. And then I'm going to put like my opinion at the end. But comic books are not like it used to be. My heart was broken when I read the latest Flash comic, Absolute number one. My heart was just broken. I'm like, I cannot believe this is where it's going. So let's listen to what he got to say, and then I will put my opinion. Let me see what Omar says. Says I don't, I don't know what's worse, comic books or the movies now. I would say the movies. I hate the titles of the movies. I just hate like all the directions they're going with the movies. But comic books is a close number one though. Let's listen to what Unc got to say. Check his channel out too. I'll probably leave the description at the end of this video. Let me see. It said, "Have you seen the Marvels?" No, I boycotted that movie. It says it's bad enough the movie ruined the Flash. Now the comic, yeah, the comic book was terrible. But let's see what Unc got to say about why the comic book sucked, and then I will read more comments later. Let me see.
How y'all doing? It's your Uncle Tim. This is Uncle Tim Rants and Reviews, a channel where I rant and I review. I'm your host, Uncle Tim. Fam, comic books suck. They done sucked all the damn life out of them. They sucked all the joy out of them. They made the books so damn boring that it ain't even fun to read anymore, man. The plots are paper thin, the colorings, the inks.
He's not lying. The stories of comic books lately has been dull, long, and boring. Yes, boring. I buy comics now just so I can sell. These comic books are not good. It's just like the movies. It's crap. Feminist agenda, political agenda. It's just not good. Whatever this man just said is the goddamn truth, man.
The pencils, they don't even look that damn amazing. And you just sitting here like the prices done went up on the books. You remember as a little kid, you and your friends used to sit down and read comic books and talk about what you read, talk about, how you were actually amazed by, what you read. And you all of a sudden learn how to read bigger words. You see people just reading comics. I don't see not one motherfucker reading a comic book right now. I haven't ran across somebody reading a comic book. I haven't seen a kid with a comic book. Why? Because they're not fun or cool anymore. Back in the day, they were just a little bit fun because you've seen teenagers reading comics.
The comic book industry is dying. I live in Indianapolis. The last 5 years, I've been seeing comic book shops die, out of business, not selling. Let me read what he says. It depends on what you read. I read Sonic, Street Fighters, and a few other currently. Those might be good, but I'm basically talking about the Marvel and DC stuff because that's the face of the comic book industry. At least it was. And Marvel and DC, they're just not doing it right. And it sucks. Let me see. It says, but if you're talking about DC and Marvel, only certain titles range from okay to all right. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Marvel and DC. I know Sonic, they made comics of him and stuff like that, but I'm mainly talking about Marvel and DC because that's what I grew up on, Marvel and DC. And then that's when other comics came around like Sonic and all that stuff. But it's just disappointing the direction Marvel and DC going. It's truly pathetic. It really is.
Comic books, man. You seen stuff, for what, 35 cents. Then they went up to like 65 cents. Then they were like $1. Then they, went up to like $5 and $6 damn. The 90s were the last good time for comics, man. After that, comics just went downhill, man. You know, I could even say up to 2010 they were still good. But after that, it just
I would say he's wrong. The last good time for comics was around that early 2000 mark, around maybe '05, maybe '07, '08, the early 2000s. I think that was the last good time that comics were alive. He said the 90s. I think the early 2000s had a really good run. I could do a separate video on some of the stories I read in the early 2000s, but I think he's wrong about the 90s being the best. Being the last good decade. I think the early 2000s. I think around 2008, 2009, that's when it started to switch over. Disney bought Marvel around 2008, I think December. And then to me, that's when the whole comic book industry started switching with the feminists, the political, and the gay agenda. Let me see. It says, you watch the same channels I watch. Yeah. The real ones relate, He says, quickly wise. The early 2000s was the last good era. Yeah, the early 2000s was the last good era of comic book. If anybody say that these comic books are good now, it's either they're a new reader, so they're not used to the history of comic books. They're a new reader. They just came to buy comic books in the last 2 or 3 years, or they just don't know what they're talking about. Let me read some of these comments. It says, today, independent comics are preferable than the mainstream. You are right, because when I go to Comic Cons, I buy a lot of independent comics, and some of those stories are way better. I've been saying for years Marvel and DC should have a hiring event, especially for black creators, so we could get more black characters in the Marvel and DC screen that's actually not race swamp, that's actually like created. I think Marvel and DC should have a hiring event because these comic book creators, the independent ones, are way better than the ones that Marvel and DC hires. So I definitely agree. It says, DC has been the worst when it comes to comics in recent years. You are right. I'm friend with a comic book store owner named Ramon. He's really the only black comic book store owners in the Midwest, North Midwest, something like that. But he told me the only comics that really sell is Batman comics and Marvel stuff. So he said the DC stuff is really not selling like that. And I'm not surprised. The DC movies are terrible. I mean, they're worse than the Marvel movies, and y'all know how I feel about the Marvel stuff. It's all bad, man. It's all bad. Let's hear what he got to say more about the comic book industry. But everything that Unc said to me is dead on right. It's dead on right. Let's see what he
This
said.
went downhill, man, because it's like instead of it being about the book, it was about the money. And see, once you make anything about profits, and I ain't no lie, profits should have been in a long time ago, but the books have become too risque. They've been more lately like sitcoms, man. And I don't really want to sit there and read some damn plot from two broke girls, basically. They developing their friendship. They're trying to see what they're going to do. They're talking about their life and how they're going to structure their life after college. I don't want to read that shit. I want to read books about superheroes or villains destroying the world and shit. You're like, even in retrospect, you hear, man, I got.
How he explained that is the reason why I feel like Superman is dying. For years, I could talk about the TV shows, the movies, and the comics. Lois Lane has the biggest dick. Let me explain. I feel like the reason why Superman's dying because it's always about the fucking romance. It's about Lois Lane being in charge. It's about their lovey-dove relationship. Why I like Batman so much because he's like, fuck a bitch, let's fight crime. That's why I like Batman so much. But Superman, it's this lovey-dove shit. And I agree with Unc. These new stories, it's so much about the romance. It's political. It's feminist. Got gay shit. I mean, just whatever. You can keep going, but they should stay off the relationship shit in these comic books and get to the action. Get to the fighting. And that's what I want here. Is that so hard to ask for? Let me read some of these comments. It says the problem is that they keep promoting a C-list character like Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. Yeah, remember years ago where it was like Harley Quinn was everywhere. Like I couldn't get enough. Like I see TV stations, they're talking about Harley Quinn on a TV show or a movie. It was like Harley Quinn merchandise. You go to comic book conventions, all you see was females dressed like Harley Quinn. Like when the hell did she become so popular? I don't get it. Like, what makes Harley Quinn so special? I don't get that. And then remember in the latest comments, they made Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy a couple. Like, that shit is just so stupid. Let me read some of these comments. It says, Superman has been dead, in my opinion, for years because it's the same old story. Even if you remove the Lois Lane, he's just boring. Interesting that you say that. I think for years they've been forcing the love relationship. I don't think Superman is boring. I think the way they're writing the stories, they're making it boring. If Superman says "fuck that bitch," let me fight the world's crime. If they give him actual villains that can actually compete with Superman, and we see Superman lose sometimes, I think that would make Superman a better character. But they don't know how to write Superman. They clearly don't. It's sad. It says, I disagree with the take that Superman and Lois is one of the most iconic couples in comics. Uh, if they're not the most iconic, who is? Like, uh, when you think about Superman, Lois Lane is always next to him. Like, if you really think about it, who is the biggest love relationship in comics if it's not Superman and Lois Lane? They even made love novels about their stories. That's how deep their fucking romance go. It's fucking disgusting. It says, "What's up, John Level?" Fuck. Okay. It says Harley Quinn still is with that terrible fart fetish comment. It says Harley Quinn came out in Batman animated series as her first. Yeah. Do y'all know that that comic where I forgot what issue is from the Batman animated series comics, that's going up like $1,000 if it's a 9.8. That comic is worth some money. It was crazy. I used to see that comic all the time for like $10. I should have grabbed it around the time. I would have sold it to some idiot. It says Suicide Squad when she came into the mainstream. Yeah, I agree. And I just didn't get why she was that popular. It says DC needs to kill Harley Quinn. I agree. She became too annoying due to the overexposure. They also made Poison Ivy gay, who never was. Yeah, I definitely agree. I just don't get the hype of Harley Quinn over those years. But luckily the hype died down. I don't hear people talking about Harley Quinn as much, and I don't hear people talking about Deadpool as much as they did like 10 years ago. It says, "What up?" It says, there are characters who have already done that or a match for Superman manga. Doomsday, Material, Darkseid, characters who come close to beating or have defeated Superman in the past. You are right, but those are like little side stories. I want to see Superman lose on the big screen sometimes. I don't want to see the lovey-dove romance shit. In the TV shows, I want to see Superman lose badly. I want to see, and it's not even just with Superman. I want to see Marvel and DC characters lose. I feel like they beat the bad guys too easily. Like, let's talk about the Daredevil show that just came out a few months ago. I felt like Muse, the way he died was pathetic. It made no sense. Hopefully he comes back. I just didn't get that. These villains are dying easily, and I hate it. I just hate it. It says, "Will you review the Thunderbolts?" No, I won't. I boycotted the movie. I definitely won't. The death of Superman from the 90s is a good Superman. And you're right. I almost feel like they should have let Superman die for 20 years. That would have been really cool if they just let Superman die and we saw all the other like Superman, like the clone Superman and all that stuff. It would have been interesting if we didn't get Superman right away, because after he died, like after a year or two, they brought him back. So it would have been interesting if they kept him dead for a while. But let's listen to Unc some more.
Gotta pay that damn light bill, but he's still fighting Galactus and Thanos at the same time. You're like, okay, damn, like, okay, he's still human in there somewhere, he's thinking about his bills on top of all that shit. But now you looking at these books, man, it's like they so sensitive, and they got feelings and shit, they got all of these hopes and dreams and shit. You don't expect that at no damn book as no guy. You sit here like, damn, you got you feeling tender after reading that damn book. You're like, wait, hold on. Man, it ain't about that. Like I told you before, bro, we got two different books right here. I'm going to show them real quick. Give me a second. Man, This book is from last year. This is Witchblade #1. This book was like from I think '96 or something like this. This Witchblade right here, man, should be on here somewhere. Michael Turner did the art on this, man. I don't know. The cover is not that great to me. I always wondered this cover could have been better, man. He has some amazing.
Let me read some of the comments. Let me read some of the comments. It says Superman died against Doomsday and was killed by Darkseid on the big screen. Oh yeah, I remember he got killed by Darkseid, but man, them Zack Snyder movies are terrible, terrible. It's that Harley Quinn is mostly popular for being quicker, good design, and being pathetic. But yeah, I'm tired of her and the last character I want to see. Yeah, I just don't see nothing special about Harley Quinn. Once you have the Joker, she's just a girl version of the Joker. And she doesn't even do as much cool stuff as the Joker do. And she doesn't have no powers or nothing. So I just never cared for her. It says, I'm even scared about the new Superman movie. I am too. I am too. Let's just say this: if this Superman movie is not good, people are going to be asking for James Gunn's job. He could be fired as soon as he started. It says, nah, Superman shouldn't stay dead for 20 years. He developed more of a character after that. I don't know. I felt like he should. To me, I hate when characters die and they come back right away. What is the point of you making a Death of Wolverine story or something like that, and then he comes back in a couple of months? I just think that's stupid to me. Like, if you're gonna kill off a character, make them die for a little longer, please. It says, I'm surprised they haven't not made Superman gay at this point. Well, they made Superman's son gay, and they made Superman a product of rape. Yeah, he got raped in the comic books like a few years ago. Long story. I might do a video about it again. It says Superman. Superman gay. Y'all are killing me with these comments. It says they did make Superman gay before. Unfortunately, and his son is sweet and low. I know there's a comic book where I think pink kryptonite makes him gay. So I think there was an issue where Superman was gay because of the pink kryptonite. I think they did make a story where he was gay because of the kryptonite, but whatever. It says Spawn, I think, is doing good. Yeah, Spawn has always, to me, been steady. He's not like super great, but he's not like super bad. And his stories are always interesting in some type of aspect. So I'm glad that Spawn is still alive and doing good and stuff. Let me read some more comments. It says, Superman wants to read a head photograph rather than Lois Lane twist at the end of the new Superman movie. I I wish I could talk to the writers that do like Superman comics and movies and stuff. Like, Superman is a good character. We're ready for the chosen one. What do I mean by the chosen one? We're ready for somebody to go in that studio and write a bomb ass story about Superman. I feel like we should have a story that's dark, kind of what Zack Snyder did, but I don't want Superman to be dark. I want him to be full of energy and life. I just want the story around Superman to be intense. And that's what Zack Snyder didn't get. He tried to change the character itself, and I didn't like that. It says, I'm done with Superman. Only Batman I respect. Yeah, we'll see what they do with Batman 2. I know this is a hot take. I think Robert Pattinson Batman is the greatest Batman I ever saw. He's not a good Bruce Wayne at all, and his suit sucked, but Robert Pattinson can fucking act. And I was one of the haters that thought that he was a bad choice for Batman. I can't wait to see what they do with the Batman too. It says, did you see Wonder Woman 1984? I saw the first 22 minutes and I walked out the goddamn theater. Movie was terrible. I don't see how people would think that's a good movie. I really don't. It says Harley is really better off as a hitch girl than a main villain. You are right. I always thought Harley Quinn was a side character. I always thought she was a decent side character, but when you make a side character the main character, you start fucking up, man. And that's what DC's been doing for a very long time. It says Wolverine, I think, was dead uh 4 years, and Superman was killed off in the comics for a while since they had the story arc called Funeral for a Friend. What's crazy, I got all the issues for Funeral for a Friend. You would think those issues would be worth some money, but they're not. They're still worth like a couple of dollars in the dollars bins. So I'm disappointed that they're only worth like $3 to $5. Cause I held on to those comics thinking those were gonna be worth some money. Like even the death of Superman, because they made millions of copies, if you get a real like 9.8, it's still only worth like $15 to $25. So that's disappointing. It says the pink kryptonite made Clark want Lois instead of Lane. Okay. Cause I remember it was some colored kryptonite that made Superman gay. And I'm like, man, they're going way too far with this. He probably has some of the pink kryptonite in that new cartoon since Lois looks like a teenage boy. Ugh. I don't even see why people are still watching that cartoon. That cartoon is terrible. I couldn't get past season 1. It says, have you heard that they're adding more villains in the Spider-Man 4 movie? No, I haven't. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Lately, I've been really depressed, suicidal. I just lately I just haven't been wanting to live, so I haven't like stayed in touch with everything that's going on. I've been in my own little world, but I'm starting to get a little better, and hopefully I can get my mind right for the Fantastic Four movie and the Superman movie that comes out next month. I got to get my mind right so I could do some crazy rants. Next month is going to be a busy month for this YouTube channel. Hopefully, if I could get my psyche together. It says, good one, John Level Fox. My Adventures of Superman was sweet. Yeah, that show was terrible. Remember when we all watched it together, SSJ? I forgot how many was us, but we were deep and we all watched it together. That was a bad show. That was a really bad show. And they did focus Superman and the other characters like Steel and Superboy. Let me see. It says, nah, Affleck was better. What? You gotta get out of here with that. Ben Affleck is not better than Robert Pattinson. You barely even see Ben Affleck as Batman. We haven't seen enough footage to judge if Ben Affleck is a good or bad Batman. And I don't like him as Bruce Wayne at all. When he has his costume off, he looks like Affleck. He does not look like Bruce Wayne. He looked like Ben Affleck. He said, yeah, he dressed everything like he was sweet and love. Let me see. It says Superman was gay in the Adventures of Superman. Definitely. He definitely was low key gay. It says, I mean, Superman stories are pretty dark. I mean, I have you seen what's up against Cyborg, Superman, Brainiac, and Paris? Um, if that's a newer story, no, I haven't read any of the newer stuff of Superman. It says, to be honest, I'm watching the show to make fun of it. The comics based off of it is hot garbage. It says, I was there. Oh yeah, you was there when we watched it. Let me see. It says, yeah, I remember we did do a watch party and hated it. Yeah, I remember I went like on a 10-minute rant. It's let me see. It says Ben Affleck is too fat to be Batman. I definitely agree. Michael Keaton is a good Batman. I agree with that too. It says, have you seen any Superman animated movies that came to DVD? Yeah, I seen most of them. They're okay. I think the DC animated universe is overrated. A lot of people are saying like the DC animated universe is really, really good. I don't see it. It's a few good movies out of it, but it's not that good to me. To me, most of the DC animated movies are boring. But that's just my opinion. It's a Ben Affleck has over 2 hours of footage total in a suit. If he had better writing, No Way Down by Snyder, it could have been great. The warehouse scene alone was a great action. I would give you the warehouse scene. That's the only thing I'm going to give you with Ben Affleck. To me, he was not that good as Batman, and he was an awful, and I mean awful, Bruce Wayne. He was overweight for the character. I just didn't see it. I wanted to. I really did. Because I was one of the few people that I know in this world that accepted him as Daredevil, and I thought he played a good Daredevil. A lot of people tell me, Paul, you're crazy. He was not a good Daredevil. I thought he was. I thought the story, the writers, I thought that was garbage. So I defend him as Daredevil. I cannot defend him as Batman. I cannot. And I want to so bad. Like you just don't know how bad I want to defend Ben Affleck because he's one of my favorite actors, but I just don't see it as Batman. He's too famous. He's too popular. I can't. I just never saw it. It says, we do have Affleck as Batman versus Superman. There he was a good. He deserves a movie. No, he doesn't. At least compared to Patterson, honestly, and his Bruce Wayne. If he had a movie, what do you think the Ben Affleck Batman movie would be about? I don't see any good stories for his old ass. I don't. He said he is my favorite Daredevil too. Okay, so we agree, John Level Fox, that he was a good Daredevil. Because a lot of people told me, Paul, you're tripping. He was not a good Daredevil. You cannot put a terrible script and blame it on the actors all the time. Ben Affleck was a pretty good Daredevil. It says Daredevil be Ben Affleck was Beast. Yeah. Let me see. He says, I still have the promotion pin for back. Why you still got that pen, Omar? Throw that pen away. It ain't gonna be worth no money. Garbage ass pen. He says he was a good Bruce Wayne. But well, if you're saying he was better Bruce Wayne than Robert Patterson, that's debatable because I hated Robert Patterson's Bruce Wayne. He looked like some emo kid. I didn't get that. I just didn't. But he was a really good Batman to me. But that could be debatable. I can't say you're wrong. I can't say you're wrong with that, but I still rather have Robert Pattinson as Batman. I just thought it was poetry throughout the movie when he was using his own dialogue uh, to talk about the story, and I just love when he had those eyes that had like a camera in it, and he did his research and stuff. I just love that shit. It's parts of that movie that was beautiful. Let me see. Let me see what else. It's not debatable. You lose, Patterson Bruce. I don't think I lose. I just think you got something with that because Robert Patterson Bruce Wayne was terrible. It's Robert Patterson was a good Batman, not a good Bruce Wayne. I agree. I don't understand why they don't have two actors. Why not have one actor play Batman and another actor play Bruce Wayne? I never understood that because throughout the history of these Batman movies, I always felt like one of the actors did good as Bruce Wayne but terrible as Batman, or the other way around. I think when they reboot this again, because Batman's gonna always be rebooted, I think they should hire two actors, one to play Batman and one to play Bruce Wayne. I really think they should do that. Let me see. It says even though you could, he says even though you could not see his teeth. I don't get that one. It says Arrow did the same thing. Tell Yeah, I never was an Arrow fan. To me, he was always like a bootleg Punisher mixed with the Batman. I never liked an Arrow. I can see why people do, but I never cared. I agree. Bell was the best Bruce Wayne. Well, I didn't say who was the best Bruce Wayne yet. I had to do my digging, but Robert Patterson will always be my favorite Batman. Until we see something else, I just love them as Batman. I just wish that they could have got a better suit for him. I really do. But let's see what else Unc got to say. He's tripping me off about that weird comment, but let's skip through that part.
Think about X-Men, from the 90s that Jim Lee launched. Look at X-Force from the 90s that Rob Liefeld, launched. Dude, those books were fun. Those books were full of color. They were vivid. They had your imagination going. These books now, they're dull. They got all these subtexts and, hierarchies, love triangles. Don't get me wrong. Books, from all over history that were comics, they done had love triangles. Jean Grey, Scott Summers, Wolverine, Havoc, Scott Summers, Madeline Pryor, Goblin Queen, basically. You done had them in all of them. Look at Black Canary, Green Arrow, and the other guy. It was somebody else that it was in a love. Wonder Woman, Superman, and Lois Lane. It was just so much shit. Then Batman. Dude, the books were so much that you like, but you was okay with that because it was subtle. It wasn't so in your face. All this shit is just pushing agendas that kids shouldn't be reading about, man. It should just be where kids are allowed to be kids. The last safe space where kids are allowed to actually be little kids. They took away the cartoons from the kids, saying they were just mindless entertainment. They need to have education. So you gave them educational stuff. Now they going to school 5 days a week. 7 days a week, they getting educational shit. On Saturdays and Sundays. Who wants that? Why you think kids are not watching that? You just destroyed what it was like to be a kid, man. Why can't people just have fun? And that's the thing. People are tired. They're angry. They're thinking to themselves like, man, look, I'm looking for better. And you know what? As a collector of comics, man, this is why I collect the old stuff. The new stuff, man, don't get me wrong, it's still worth a read, but it's not my cup of tea. And if it's not my cup of tea, man, then I'm not gonna mess with it. I don't owe it to anybody to indulge in some shit that I don't like. If you like it, then go for it. Then like I said, this book here is $4.99.
It is, and the one thing he did say that I definitely agree on: comics are way too expensive now. When I was growing up in the 90s, you could get comics for $1, for $2. I think they were like $2.50 in the 90s. And that was affordable, a couple of bucks. And now they're like $5, $10. Like, pretend that Absolute Superman sold out that week. If you go online, they're going to sell that $5 comic for like $20, $30. So it's just crazy how the comic book industry is now. And then it's so hard for sellers, because there's certain comics that I'm planning on selling when I get older and stuff. But if it's not the cover that people want, that comic is worth nothing. So they're making 5, 10 covers of the same type of comic. That's a headache to me. I don't like that they're making so many covers for one comic. It's just it's irritating of the comic book market. But yeah, the prices of comics are rising, and it's not getting better with the feminist and political stories that they got along. Some of the art is pretty in some of these newer comics, but a lot of times they just look too cartoony to me. They look too kiddish to me. So I just wish they could lower the price on the comics, man. Because think about it. Every Wednesday, comic books come out. Who has that type of money where once a week they're going to the comic book store spending like $10 to $20 a week? Because that's basically how much you're spending, because you're gonna want 2 or 3 or even maybe 4 issues of different stuff. So I'm mostly spending about roughly 20 something dollars a week on comics, and it just sucks. And I hope it's worth it. I hope at the end, once I turn 65 years old or something, and the comics I pay for is worth a lot of money and I can retire off of it. So I hope what I'm doing is worth it. But this shit's getting too expensive. It really is.
This book here was 250. This was 95.96. This was last year. Bro, I understand things go up, inflation, the cost of goods, materials, and stuff to make these books. I understand also that the print media is basically dead. They got digital comic books. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I would not buy a digital comic. It makes no damn sense. I have no ownership over that. If I buy a book, I have ownership. I could open up anytime and read it. I don't have to, do anything. But I can understand.
I can see them ending paper copy comics. I can see them ending it in the next 20 or 30 years. Like, once my generation is dead, like once the 90 kids and the early 2000 kids are dead, I can see them just going on like computer to read the comics. I can see that. I can see in the next 20 or 30 years, more comic book stores are going to close down. I mean, we're living in sad times. Welcome to the future. Welcome to the fucked up future. Let me see. It says variant covers especially cost like $11 to $12. Are you kidding me? Some of the variant covers I saw cost $50 to $100. So if you get a variant cover for $11 or $12, you're winning. When I go to the comic book stores, some of those variant covers, the lowest I seen is a $25 like variant cover. Like they could go to like 25 up to $100. It's crazy. These variant covers, how much they're worth, how much they cost and stuff. And then at the end of the day, you're just praying that it keeps up in value. Because in 10 years, all of this could be junk. Like, I don't know. I believe that everything eventually dies, and I believe that this product is slowly dying right in front of our eyes. Let's keep hearing what he said.
The purpose of digital stuff, just in case you're on the go, you're on a plane, you don't have to download it if it's already on there, So I'm thinking, it also beats having all these heavy ass books in your bag. But comics are so different now. And kids are so complex. They got their tablets, they got their cell phones, they got laptops where they just doing every different thing else. And these books are just doing nothing but cluttering up, mainstream. Again, baby boomers, Generation X, were the one who were really into comics. This generation don't know too much about comics. Look at the comic book stores. They're dying out. It's a dying breed because nobody's checking for them anymore. Because
he's definitely right. I've been going to comic book stores since I was like 8 to 10 years old. I used to ride my bike to a lot of comic book stores in Indianapolis. Just in the last 5 years, I seen 2 of them shut down. I used to see comic book stores all around this city. They're slowly shutting down. It is just that simple. It really is.
Nobody's really buying anything. A lot of the comic book stores that I knew that were in like fixed locations, man, they didn't close down. Again, you don't got that many people shopping like they used to, man. I see people in comic book stores. Don't ever get it wrong. But it's a difference between a person, coming in the store. I remember a guy that worked at a comic book store. He said, look, this ain't a library. So people start putting dollars up on the damn table, and they were just still reading the books. Dude, it was like 25 people in there. It was like 25 singles on the damn table. I laughed my ass off because I put one up there too. I was just sitting there reading the books. They were just too expensive, bro. $5 for one damn book, $2.50 I thought was enough. Then you get the X-Men books, and these are just a little off. These are like $4.99 a piece. It's like, what are we doing? You really want to kill the comics. You already have. The prices done killed the comics, and it ruined it for kids, man. It wasn't adults that killed comic books for kids. It was the damn prices that killed.
I feel so sorry for these kids. I truly do. Because these comic books are so high. Like, I'm just imagining me at like 8, 10, 11 years old. My mom would say no to a lot of this stuff. She like, I ain't buying no comic book for $5, $10. You kidding me? Like, it's just, it sucks because when I was growing up, the comic books was $1 or $2. So I remember I could just find change under my mom's sofa for $1 or $2. I remember finding change in the car or something. I remember walking down the street and $1 or $2 would just float on the ground. Like, you don't see that shit no more. You find money now, you're lucky. Everybody got their money on tight now, or it's on the credit card or something. But I just feel sorry for these kids. Like, even the video game industry, like, these video games are like $80 now. It's fucking crazy. There's no way my mom would say yes to $80 game. Like, it's crazy. I'm gonna make another video soon on how I think I wasted money buying the PS5. I should have never bought that PS5. I just barely play it. It cost $500 that I bought. The controller cost like $100. Like when you put so much money into something, sometimes that takes away the fun. Knowing how much you spend on the shit, is it really worth it? Let me see, Omar. It says even kids use their parents' credit card. Shit, if I use my parents' credit card, I would have got my ass whooped. My mom wasn't doing that.
Killed it. Then too much of the adult themes that creeped in, man. It was just too much. You want to see some fun shit. You want to see superheroes fighting, like some of the Avengers or the Justice League movies. You want to see some of that. You don't want to hear about love and tenderness.
And in these new Marvel and DC comics, you barely see any action. And most of the time, even in the movies or the TV shows, you barely see the superheroes in costume. It's even like that in the comics now. I remember reading some Fantastic Four issue that came out like last year or sometime. Fantastic Four was wearing on like summer clothes and shit. I'm like, where the fuck is their costumes? So you're seeing that in the comics now. You see in the comics where the superheroes are wearing regular clothes. You barely see them fight. You see the love romance shit, the gay shit, the feminist shit. It's not the same, man. It's not the same. Yeah, the PS5 is a great system, bro. I even told you to do heavy research before getting it. I mean, it's probably good for you because you're a gamer. I'm not a gamer like that. I like I well, I could say I am a gamer, but I'm into the retro stuff. I'm into the Super Nintendo, the Game Boy Color, the black and white, the Sega Genesis. I play that stuff all the time. I the newer stuff, I can't get into it. I'm an old guy. But I might do a video on how I feel like I wasted money getting that PS5. I honestly, and my buddy, he was there. He couldn't tell the difference if it was a PS4 game or a PS5 because we had a Madden on like the other day, and my buddy was like, "So did you buy the PS5 yet?" And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Man, this still look like the PS4." Yeah, like the graphics to me is not that above. It's a little better than the PS4, but it's not like beyond light years to me. It's none of that to me. Let me see. He says $80 a game would be enough for one parent and they're done. To me, that's just too much. $80 for one game. You know how tired, you know how like kids have a lot of energy. That $80 game, they're probably only gonna play it for like a few weeks or a month or two, and then they're gonna be tired and want to play something else. I just think the video games should be way cheaper than that. It should be way cheaper. I just don't agree with the $80. I'm sorry. He said that's a big issue where they won't let heroes wear costumes. The agenda is the main issue. Agenda kills everything. I definitely agree with you on that. But I don't agree with that price either. That's the rich kid. Yeah, like 80. When I paid $100 for the PS5 controller, I wanted to throw the fuck up. When have a controller been worth anything like that? Like that's insane to me. I'm sorry. I just think the PS5 is a waste of money. I mean, if you're a gamer like that, hey, do you? But the video game industry is raping the market. It says PS5 is more for gamers. Switch to Xbox is more casual. Excuse me. I feel like I'm getting an itchy throat here. It says, or in the comics where the heroes like Peter Parker just sit around, talk about their problems, and don't fight any villain. Yeah, I mean, bro, like I read some issues that Peter Parker or whoever character, they're just talking about their problems. They're not fighting. There's no real action. There's too many fillers in comics. And I don't like that because comic books, out of any type of genre, you could say there's a lot of conversation doing movies because they can't afford an action scene or it's too expensive to do that. But with a comic book, you should be able to use your imagination as a writer to draw all type of fantasy stuff to keep the viewers interested. Like I don't want to see some boring opera on a comic book form. I don't want to see it. It's light years. If you had the PS4 since the beginning, upgraded your TV, you can see huge. I mean, I got a brand new TV. Well, it's not brand new, but I bought it last year. It's a really good TV, and I just don't see how I don't see the huge difference in graphics. That's just me. Maybe I need to buy some HDI cord or whatever, but I just don't see it. I mean, it is better graphics than the PS4. I agree with that, but it's not light years. I don't think it's light years better. I think it's a little better than the PS4. It ain't no $200 or $300 worth better. That's just my opinion. Yeah, I don't agree with the high price either. No argument with Paul and John Level Fox. It says $100 for a controller. They used to be yeah, I bought $100 controller because I don't like playing by myself. I'm getting to the point I like to play against people I know. And one of the main reasons why I feel like I wasted the money on the PS5, I don't have friends like I used to. And I used to always have friends come over every day and we play the system. But since I don't deal with anybody like that, and that's another reason why my depression is hitting stronger, like the PS5 just sits there because I'm not really playing. I only like playing when it's against somebody. Wait a second. Let me see what your other comment. It says, I used to thought the PS5 was the LTD one. It says, the writers suck and have no imagination. Yeah, you're right. You're right. The writers in the comic book industry, they suck. Most of them are old and white. They just don't get it. Most of them are political. They got a lot of females writing comic books that don't know shit about a comic book. Like it's rough, man. It's rough for the comics. Even they're making the fan base mad. Yeah, let's finish this video. Let me see. It's 2 minutes left on this video. Let's see what else he got to say.
And we hooked up. You don't want to hear about that shit. You just want to see somebody fighting. And that's the fun thing about this. This is where everything falls apart. Like I said, you got to make it make sense for your damn self. And like I said, when it stopped making sense, when it stopped being fun, that's when you quit. You don't owe no damn body nothing. You don't even owe yourself that. When it's
I'm going to tell y'all the dark truth. Comic books to me stopped being fun to collect around 2000, between the 2008 and 10. That's to me when comic books stopped being fun. And now to this day, between 2010 and 2025, I probably read about 5 to 10 comic books a year when it used to be way more than that. And it's just not fun to me. Now I collect them just so I can resell. Just so this could be, I'm buying comic books now for my retirement fund. I believe once I'm all old and gray in my late 60s, I believe my comic book collection will at least give me over 100 grand. And this would be part of my retirement fund. I believe when it's all said and done, I'm going to have over $100,000 because I got a lot of rare comics. I got a lot of them. And I believe once I sell them all, that could be my retirement fund. Or I would just pass down the comic book collection to my daughter. And if she's into it, I won't sell it. I would just give it to her, and maybe she can pass it down for the next generation. But if my daughter's not into this stuff, I'm selling this garbage once I get old. And to me, the comic book buying, it's not fun anymore. It stopped being fun years ago. It used to be so fun to me. I used to hang out with people that love comic books, and we used to talk about the newest stories and stuff. We'll go out for pizza, some of my old friends, and we'll talk about these legendary stories and what Spider-Man could do or Superman could do. But they're all bad. The story's all bad. It sucks. It's not the same. It says, man, guys, it's really keeping comics alive. LOL, there's more Japanese comics than American comic book store. Yeah, it's getting sad, bro. It's getting fucking sad.
It's time to quit. It's time to quit. You know when it's time to quit. You looking like this shit ain't making sense no more. It ain't even fun. If it ain't fun no more, you don't have to do it anymore. Dude, I'm gonna say that all day. When it ain't fun no more, you don't have to do it anymore. That's it. Keep it pushing, keep it moving. Like I said, I buy stuff left and right. But one thing that I have learned over a period of time is basically stop while the going is good. You know, with the old books, I could buy them in lots and I could get them for good prices because they're not going for that price that's on the book. You're getting like 10 or 15 books for $20. In my personal opinion, that's a good deal. And this is what I'm getting at, you know, opposed to buying one book for $5 damn. Bro, like I said, you got to make it make sense for me. And I'm good with that. You know, a lot of the great artists are not drawing anymore. You know, a lot of the good artists nowadays, they're just drawing covers. So you get this amazing cover on a book. You open the book up, the art is nowhere near what the cover looked like. And that's the shit that got me, man, that people don't understand. Dude, you cannot have shit. It's like, real talk. But till later, fam, thank you for watching. Peace out.
This is how Fiverr helped me to kickstart my business. Hi.
Okay. One last video before we end this.
I'm afraid the comics as we have understood them are dead. The comic book industry as we have known it is dead. They're going to sit there and go, it was because of COVID. We don't know what happened. It's just suddenly comic. No, left-wing activists came in and decided to take over this industry, spit in your faces, and destroy what you loved. Wake up. That is what happened to the hobby that you cherished. What classic stories are coming out of the social justice warrior generation of comics? Nothing. We're not worried about secret identities anymore. We're worried about identity politics. Oh, we got to represent more people. Why don't you entertain people? Why don't you stop applauding yourself? I'm afraid the comics.
That guy is right. It's sad. It really is. This is why I am so depressed. Everything that I love, it all crumbled. I used to love going to the movies. The movies are terrible now. I used to love sitting on my fat ass on the couch watching cartoons. The cartoons suck. I used to love playing video games. The video games too expensive. $80 a game. when is enough is enough? When are we going to take back the industry? It just sucks. It really does from the bottom of my heart. I'm going to end this video. I've been babbling too long, but I really I buy comics to really sell them in the future. It's that simple. I barely read them. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know every single story. I read about 5 to 10 issues a year. And then when I do read them once in a while, they're terrible. Just, like, I don't care what anybody said. That Absolute Flash #1 comic, it is so terrible. Wow, it's about Wally West as a teenager trying to find himself. How many times we got to see that story? Yeah, you didn't really see him with the suit. He barely used the powers. You didn't see him fight no cool villain. It was a slow build-up. Why do we need these slow build-ups in a comic book? It's not a movie. I want to see fantasy. I want to see imagination. I want to see science fiction. I want to see drama. I want to be entertained. Can I be entertained? I just don't get it. I don't fucking get it. Let me read some of the last comments and then I'm out of here. It says, legendary artists, but he kind of annoying to listen to him rant on. Eric July is trash. I don't see how his comic book became so popular. The animation on his comics sucked. But I'm about to end this. I appreciate all of y'all for joining. I'm shocked. I didn't see all these comments coming. I didn't think a lot of people was going to join in the stream. So I appreciate y'all for hopping on this stream. I'm going to put the Cash App sign below if y'all want to donate to the channel. That's always good. Once I get my mind and everything together, hopefully I can have a crazy month of July just pounding content for y'all. Like, it's so many videos that I've been thinking about doing that it's just been slowing me down because of my depression. But I'm going to try to pound these videos out for y'all. So the month of July, I probably will be crazy busy pouring out content. So I really appreciate y'all for watching. And if y'all want to donate, the link is below. What's up, real nerdy reviewers? Hey guys, y'all need to check out his channel. He does really good videos. He talks about the newest news on Marvel and DC. Check out the real nerdy review. You don't stream like you used to. I gotta watch you when we can. Yeah, like I've been telling everybody, I've been depressed lately, so I haven't really been doing anything like I used to. So the month of July, I'm gonna pound content. I'm gonna try to get on my Discord more. So if anybody's new, they're trying to join my Discord, let me know. I'm gonna try to be on Discord more. I've been down. I'm gonna make a video on why I'm so depressed and stuff. So hopefully that come out soon. But it's been a rough year for me. It's been a bad year for me. Yeah, I'm ready to collab with you, SSJ. It's been a long time since we did a video together. It says, I understand. Take care of yourself first. Thank you. Yeah, I definitely want to start collabing with other YouTubers again, and more YouTubers. So I really love y'all to the bottom of my heart. I'm about to get out of here. The Pacers game, I gotta watch that. We're 3-1 in the series, so hopefully we can beat out the New York Knicks tonight. Hopefully we beat out the New York Knicks tonight. And it's been a long time since the Pacers went to the NBA Finals. I think I was in middle school. I think I was in middle school when Reggie Miller went to the NBA. I think we went against the Lakers. I can't remember. I think we went against the Lakers. It was so long ago, but if we win tonight, we're going to the NBA Finals, and I'm excited. If I never thought I would be alive to see the Pacers win an NBA championship, so hopefully this could be the year. So I'm excited. So I'm about to go to Wild Wings. I forgot what it's called. BF Wild Wings, whatever. I'm gonna go there with some friends, and we're gonna watch this NBA game. Hopefully, go Pacers. Go Pacers. So I see y'all, and I love y'all. I really do. I mean, I even though I got a small fan base, I still feel like I have some of the greatest fans in the world. I really do, because some of y'all got my phone number. Some of y'all check up on me when I'm feeling down and stuff. So I really appreciate y'all, and I'm doing this for y'all, and I'm out.